Hello everyone, today I want to share with you some information about one of the most iconic destinations in Vietnam as well as in Hanoi, the capital of our country, and that is the Salt Lake. Salt Lake, also known as Han Kim Lake, is a freshwater lake which measures about 12 hectares in the historical center in Hanoi. And are you curious why the lake got the name Salt Lake? Well, actually, this name originated in the early 15th century, and it is associated with the legend of King Leela returning the magical sword to the turtle god. But before I tell you about this legend, I want to talk about the Chinese domination over Vietnam. So, as you know, in the long history of Vietnam, the China repeatedly invaded Vietnam. As far as I know, they invaded our country around 20 times, and they dominated our country for over 1,000 years. And again, in the early 15th century, the Ming dynasty from China invaded Vietnam, and they committed a lot of crimes. They, for example, they unleashed a brutal campaign of pillage and bloodshed against people. The Ming government also established sovereignty over Vietnam. They implemented assimilation policies. They forced our Vietnamese people to do everything like Chinese people. They also stole valuable artifacts from Vietnam, such as some gem, jade, golden pieces, artwork, as well as worthy books. So at that time, there were many resistance movement and uprising against China's brutal government. And one prominent person is Lê Lợi. He was the leader of the Lam Sơn uprising in Thanh Hóa, which is a province in the central area of Vietnam. And he decided to fight against China after witnessing the suffering of Vietnamese people and the destruction of Vietnamese village by Ming forces. And Lê Lợi began his campaign, his uprising in 1480, and he was strongly supported by Vietnamese people and a lot of talents. But at the first stage, his army was very weak, and the uprising faced many difficulties. And the legend had it that the Dragon King in the underwater palace decided to lend him a magical sword to drive out the enemy. And thanks to the power of the magical sword, Lê Lợi with his army successfully vanquished the invasion and ushered the country into a peaceful era after 10 years of fighting. And then Lê Lợi became the king of the country. And 1 year later, when he was boating on the lake, suddenly the golden turtle god appeared and asked for the magical shot. And as soon as the king Lê Lợi returned the sword to the turtle god, it dived into the water and disappeared. And since then, the lake has been renamed Han Kim Lake. So the lake also has other names apart from the name Salt Lake. So in the past, it was also known as Lục Thủy Lake because its water is green all year round, and it also has the name Thủy Quân Lake because it was once used in the naval drills, and Salt Lake also was once called Tả Vọng Lake because it is located to the left of the Imperial Sea Turtle. And today it is actually the lakeside is ideal destination for walking, for exercising, for people to come to relax and socialize. And at night you can see the lake takes on a magical appearance with the lights on the Turtle Tower reflecting beautifully on the water, and it help creating a peaceful and romantic atmosphere in this area. So next I want to talk about the turtle in the Vietnamese culture and the turtle in the Salt Lake. So actually in Vietnamese culture, turtle is one of the four sacred creatures alongside the dragon, the phoenix, and the unicorn. But among them, the turtle is the only one that exists in real life, and it symbolizes the longevity, wisdom, as well as good health. And its dome shell is believed to represent the sky, while its flat belly symbolizes the earth. And about the turtles living in Salt Lake. So as far as I know, the turtle in Salt Lake was especially rare and sacred. It has large body, a relatively small head, with a pale white belly and a hard shell. And locals often call them cụ rùa. You can say it like great grandfather turtle in English. And according to Vietnamese legend, the turtle helped the King Lê Lợi fend off the Chinese aggressors nearly 6 centuries ago. But sadly, there are no longer any giant turtle living in the lake today, because the last known individual was found dead in 2016. And since the 1960s, 4 individuals have been discovered in this lake. The first one died in 1967, and its body is now preserved in Ngọc Temple. It is the biggest turtle and weighs about 250 kilograms. And the second one was kept at Hùng Pagoda, and later it was moved to Hanoi Museum. And the third was unfortunately slaughtered in between 1962 and 1963, while it was crawling up after a heavy rain. And the last one, as I mentioned before, passed away on the 21st January 2016. And according to the state media, it died due to the old age and bad weather. And it is believed to be between 80 and 100 years old, and its shells are preserved at the Vietnam Nature Museum. So next I want to tell you some information about the architectures around Han Kiem Lake, including the Total Tower, the Ngọc Sơn Temple, and the Tail Bridge. Okay, the first one, the Turtle Tower, also known as Tháp Rùa in Vietnamese, is a small tower in the middle of Salt Lake, and it was built in 1886 on a floating mound that's about 350 square meters wide, and this island used to be the fishing site under King Lê Thánh Tông. And this tower was initially erected to honor the father of Nguyễn Ngọc Kim, who played a role as a go-between for the Vietnamese and the French during the colonial period. And after the architecture of the tower is quite unique because it's the mix traditional Vietnamese style and the French styles. You will notice that the tower is about 8.8 meters tall with 14 doors facing all directions, and it has 3 stories, 3 floors, and the Vietnamese feature is shown through the curved roof design, while the French Gothic style is evident in the arrangement and the design of the doors. And at night, the tower is lit beautifully, and its reflection on the water is magical. And one interesting fact is that during the French colonial period, there used to be a miniature version of the Statue of Liberty on the top of the tower. The locals sarcastically call it the Đầm Xòe. However, it was later removed in 1945 when Trần Trọng Kim government regained the control of Hanoi from the French. Okay, next one is the Ngọc Sơn complex. Ngọc Sơn Temple. It was built in the 19th century, and in the temple, Vietnamese people worship the god Văn Xưng Đế Quân, who was in charge of examination and literature. And it is also dedicated to General Trần Hưng Đạo, one of 14 national hero of Vietnam, who defeated the Mong invaders in the 13th century. And over time, in 1865, Confucian scholar Nguyễn Văn Siêu took charge of remodeling the temple, and some other structures like Pen Tower, Trấn Ba Pavilion, and Tail Bridge was also constructed during that time. Okay, next I will guide you through the Tail Bridge, which is the really famous and meaningful spot in Hanoi. It was also constructed in 1865 by scholar Nguyễn Văn Siêu. It was erected to connect Ngọc Sơn Temple and the lake bank. So the name Tae Hook refers to the early morning sunlight, and if you go to this bridge, you can see that this bridge is painted in a bright red color, and so that it has an elegant beauty and sophisticated architectural features. And in Vietnamese culture, the red color stands for luck, for happiness, and prosperity. And this bridge also all made of wood, and it is supported by a line of pillars underneath. And the last one is the Pen Tower. The Pen Tower was built in 1865, also by Nguyễn Văn Siêu, who was a Confucian master, and this is located outside the entrance of the Table Ridge. And the tower is about 10 meter high, and at the top of the tower you will notice an upside down brass leaf, which symbolizes the importance of education and knowledge in Vietnamese culture. And both the handle and the nib are around 0.8 meter high, and on the body of the pen tower there are 3 vertical engravings, Tả Thanh Thiên, which means writing in the skies. And the designer he maybe wanted the Vietnamese later generation to be well educated and always willing and always eager to learn. In the next part, I want to share with you some information about the 4 holy creatures in Vietnamese culture. So as I mentioned before, 4 sacred creatures in Vietnamese culture include the dragon, the phoenix, the unicorn, and the last one is the turtle, right? The dragon symbolizes the imperial power, the strength, and freedom, and it is often seen in temples as well as in pagodas and royal palaces. And the next one, the unicorn, symbolizes intelligence, peace, luck, and practice. And the turtle, as I mentioned before, symbolizes longevity, wisdom, and permanence, good health. And the last one, the phoenix, is a symbol of nobility, beauty, and grace. So let's move to the next part. And if you go to the Salt Lake, you can see a statue which is opposite the Salt Lake, right? And it is the statue of King Lý Thái Tổ. But before I share with you some interesting information about this statue, I want to talk about King Lý Thái Tổ, whose personal name is Lý Công Uẩn. He is one of the most important figures in Vietnamese history, and he is considered one of the 14 national heroes of Vietnam. He is also the founding emperor of the Lý dynasty. He was born in Cổ Pháp village, which is now Bắc Ninh province, and his birth remains something mysterious because we don't know anything about his father. We just know about his mother. His mother was called Lady Phan, and she lived a humble life. She worked as at a local pagodas, like she do something like cleaning and gardening. And one day after working for hours, she was tired, a little bit hungry, and she decided to take a nap. And while she was taking a nap, a monk walked over her body, and suddenly he got pregnant. And after that, they gave birth to a baby who was Lý Công Uẩn. And when Lý Công Uẩn was 3 years old, he was adopted to pagoda, and since then he was raised by 2 brother monks, Lý Vạn Hạnh and Lý Khánh Văn. And these 2 monks named him after their surname. That's why he got the name Lý Công Uẩn. And since a young age, he had learned many things. He learned about the literature, the moral principle, and the Buddhist philosophy. And when he grew up, he held an important official position during the early Lê Dynasty, and later he married the daughter of King Lê Hoàng. And in 1009, when King Lê Long Đỉnh passed away, he was supported especially by Lý Vạn Hạnh and Lý Khánh Văn to be the king of the new dynasty, and this event marked the beginning of the first long-lasting dynasty in Vietnamese history, and that is Lý Dynasty. And he ruled the country from 1009 to 1028 when he died. And one of his first and most visionable decision is to transfer the capital from Hoa Lư to Đại La. So why he decided to relocate the capital from Hoa Lư to Đại La in the autumn of 1010. So Hoa Lư is located in the narrow and isolated area. It is surrounded by rugged mountains, and they made it a good location for defense when enemies invaded our country, but it was not suitable for the development of our country. But Đại La was different. It is located in the fertile Red River, and it is interlaced with many rivers like the Red River, the Tay River, and the Tô Lịch River. And this waterway make it so really convenient for doing agriculture, for trading, transportation, making economy, and especially for long-term national growth. And moreover, Đại La is located at the center of the country, and it is a strategic position, right? And so that it will be much easier for the king to rule the nation. Additionally, with a large population already settled down here, it was super easy and convenient for military mobilization, as if the king needed to launch a military campaign, it would be easier to recruit and organize soldiers. So I think for all the reasons, King Lý Thái Tổ chose Đại La as a new capital and renamed it Thăng Long. So one question here, why he renamed Đại La Thăng Long? According to a legend, when the king arrived on this land, a golden dragon suddenly appeared into the sky, and this is a device sign that inspired the king to rename the city Thăng Long, which means rising dragon. And I think he chose this name with the hope that the countries, also the capital, would always be strong, powerful, and prosperous. And in 1831, Minh Mạng, the second king of Nguyễn Dynasty, changed the name of Thăng Long to Hà Nội to reduce the influence of the legacy of the Lý Dynasty. But actually, this name is derived from an ancient district during the Han Dynasty, which is located to the north of the Yellow River in China. But over time, it is commonly understood to the meaning the land inside the river, which reflects its location within the curve of the Red Delta. And around the same time, the country was officially named Vietnam. So this name combines Việt Thường, which is the ancient name of our first homeland, and Annam, which refers to our location. It reflects the unity of the nation and was officially adopted in 1804 by the King Gia Long. So now I will tell you a little bit about the statue of King Lý Thái Tổ. So this statue was built in 2004 and it is located in the Chiling Flower Garden right by Hoàn Kiếm Lake. And have you ever wondered why a statue of Lý Thái Tổ rather than other kings such as Lê Lợi or Lê Lợi was constructed at this site? So the reason is that Lý Thái Tổ is considered the founder of the capital Thăng Long, which is Hanoi in nowadays, and the statue serves as a symbol of gratitude and respect of Vietnamese people for his great contribution as well as his legacy. And it is located in a major tourist destination to educate and commemorate his legacy. And if you look more closer, you will see that in his right hand he is holding the royal edict known as Chiếu Giải Đô, which announced the relocation of the capital, and this moment marked a turning point in Vietnamese history and laid the foundation for 1,000 years of Hanoi's development. And some people also noticed that this statue resembles the famous statue of Tần Thủy Hoàng, who was the King of China. And yeah, this is no coincidence because the designer of this statue, Miss Li Hua, actually she drew his inspiration from the statue of Tần Thủy Hoàng, and she wanted. So why she do that? Because she wanted to compare the contribution of them to their country, and also she wants to highlight their talents, because they were both the founder of great capitals and made like great and long-lasting contributions to their nation, right? Okay, and that is some information I want to share with you about Salt Lake and some architecture around it, and I hope that you will find it interesting as I do. Thank you for listening.